probably the most a tight end has ever been used in the offense that I've been in. You know what I'm saying? Even dating back to like my freshman year of college when we had a bunch of tight ends, a bunch of like, heavy pass game in the zoo. I feel like this is going to be even more than that. So, you know, I think the coaches noticed that we have a lot of talent and that we're a really versatile room. We have some really great athletes. So I think I think that we can really flourish this season.
Well, thanks again for your time, man. It'd be fun to see you out there. I'm Cole, by the way. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. How you doing?
I'm Jordan Ham. I'm a Sports 360 AZ.
Nice to meet you.
Matt Venezia, HouseOfSparky.com.
Nice to meet you.
I'm sure Cole probably said a little bit of it not too long ago. But when we talked with Glenn yesterday, he was talking about how he wanted to go back to the old college football route of having, you know, bunch sets and getting back to what works, even with college football transitioning to the long ball down the field. So in both aspects of you being out there catching the football as well as helping in the run game, what's your take on that and how do you feel about the style of offense?
I think it's awesome. I think it's amazing because, you know, the more you can do as a tight end, the more positions that they put you in, like not only the pass game but in the run game, you can really highlight, you know, your skill set and really highlight what you can do. And if you're a tight end who can block at a high level and run routes and catch passes at a high level, that puts you above a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? So like I love it. I love Coach Glenn's offense. It's an amazing offense. Like it's, you know, part of his from Atlanta and, you know, a couple, you know, other parts of some offenses that, you know, have been combined. But I think it's amazing, you know. We get to watch Tony Gonzalez film from Atlanta and on our teach tape. So for me, that's amazing because growing up, Tony Gonzalez and like Jeremy Shockey and Jimmy Graham are my favorite tight ends. So that's pretty cool for me to watch it and be able to break it down. But I'm really excited for the plan that, you know, Coach Glenn has in terms of what the tight ends are going to be doing, how we're going to be involved in both aspects of the game. So I think it's really could be big for us, for sure.
Take away when you watch Tony Gonzalez. What's playing on to find out? Maybe the little things that you don't see watching the game, but that make him special.
Yeah, I would say the little things were more of don't come from watching it, but more of talking to Glenn. You know, like I've gone and sat down with Glenn before and just picked his brain about Tony. Just kind of like, what was he like? What was he doing? What were his habits? You know, what did he do pregame? What did he do pre-practice and post-practice? And just kind of, you know, what was his routine? So I feel like that's the biggest thing I noticed about Tony that like separated him from everybody else. Because of course, when you turn on the film, it's glaring that he's one of the most athletic and talented and just best tight ends ever, you know? So that's something I always do. Turning on film was cool because you get to just really watch how much he used his athleticism to his advantage, you know? And in terms of, you know, I'm 22 years old, so at the time when Tony Gonzalez was playing, I watched football, but I didn't understand it and, you know, didn't really comprehend, you know, what was going on as much as I do now, you know, playing college football. So I feel like it's awesome because I know the concepts that he's running and I'm relating it right back to what we're doing. And it's just really, really cool to see, like, my favorite tight end ever in the same positions that I'm in. So that's really awesome. Yeah, I would say just like his pre-practice routine. He said he would have a pre-practice routine of setting up cones and working on his stride. So his stride was the same for every break. So coming into his breaks, his stride was the same, and his arm action was the same. He said the way he treated his body was just like no other. You know, like he treated his body like a temple. Just nutrition and just working out and everything was just at the highest level. He said, you know, Glenn would tell me like they would have a game and while everybody's getting ready to go on the bus, Tony's in the weight room lifting weights, you know, just working against the palm and just working on his body. Excuse me. So that was just cool to hear from him, you know what I'm saying? Because I never really, there's not a lot of stuff like on YouTube and stuff like that, or like inside looks to what he was doing. Because you know now in this day and age, there's cameras, you know, everywhere and all around NFL facilities. And you get little inside videos of what players are doing. But I there's not really a whole lot like that on Tony's team, at least that I've seen and I've looked. So just to hear it from somebody who coached him and was around him every day, that's just like amazing for him. It's just really cool to hear.
Are there any other possible tight ends? You mentioned Shock.
Yeah.
Are there any other that you try to sign
Yeah, I would say Jimmy Graham. That was always like him and Shockey were like my two. Him, Shockey, and Tony were my favorites growing up. Shockey and Jimmy Graham were number 80, and that's the number I wear. So that was like a big reason why I wear number 80. And then as I got older, I started to watch a lot more Darren Waller, because he's a big, long, and lanky tight end. I think our games are different. You know, we're both. I feel like I'm an agile, big tight end like that, but our games are just a little different. I was lucky enough to have 2 NFL tight ends that I played with in Missouri my freshman year. So I watch a lot of them. And they're, my good friends. One of them really is like my best friend. So I get to watch all the stuff that he does, and I get to pick his brain about everything. They're in camp right now, and I get to call him after camp and just ask him how it went, and he gets to show me his playbook and his routes and stuff like that. So him, my boy, his name is Albert Okwuegbunam. He plays tight end for the Broncos. So I've really just been trying to take advantage of that, of having him as a friend, as a resource, because this has helped me so much. Because obviously my goal is to play in the NFL. And to have somebody like that in my corner, who's my best friend, doing exactly what I want to do, is big. It's awesome for me, because I get a really first hands-on experience. So just trying to take advantage of the resources that I have, and people that I've been around. I feel like I've collected so much knowledge from so many tight ends. I've had 2 tight ends coaches that played tight end in the NFL, and then I've played with 2 tight ends who are in the NFL. So I've been around so many of them, just training and stuff like that. Just kind of soaking in information from all of this, because the tight end position is such an intricate position, because you have to know everything on the field, not just your routes and not just the run assignments, but everything. You got to know what other receivers are doing, and you got to know the run scheme, if it's a man scheme, if it's a zone scheme. You got to pull, you got to counter, you're in the backfield, you're playing fullback. So just soaking in the information from everybody that I've met, done it, that has been the biggest help for me.
I was just going to say, playing Missouri against some of the best teams in the country in the SEC.
Yeah.
I know you haven't gotten reps yet. That starts tomorrow with all the other Pac-12 guys, the Pac-12 coaches, and things like that.
Yeah.
So I guess what from that experience in the SEC are you ready to bring to the table here in the Pac-12?
Yeah, I say just my preparedness, just my knowledge of the game. I feel like it kind of showed during spring ball. I feel like one thing, like I said, I really had to do was learn how to run block, and I feel like that's something that translated really well for me here, because playing in the SEC, every week that you play, every D-line that you see, somebody's getting drafted off the D-line. So I'm blocking guys, from Georgia and Alabama and LSU and teams like that, and it really just helped me in the long run, because I got to see, some freakish dudes, some freaks of nature on D-lines. So, I feel like that prepared me for everything that I'm going to see, because you see, like I said, you see guys who are going to be playing on Sundays, and you'll see them here too. But it was just I feel like every game I played, I was playing against somebody who was getting drafted. So I feel like just my physicality, I really take pride in being a physical tight end. I really enjoy blocking, and I enjoy putting my hand in the dirt. So I feel like that's big. It's something that I bring here, and it's just like my standard of work. You know what I'm saying? I always work at a super high level, and I expect people around me to work at that level. So I feel like, those 2 things will be big. It'll be a big advantage for me, transferring over here.
Coach Thomas was saying that you have the frame of a tight end, but the skill set of a wide receiver. So when we're talking about the run block and getting involved in the low nitty-gritty areas, with his confidence in you saying that, how excited are you to be in an offense where you could be used pretty much in any type of formation all over the field?
Yeah, it's amazing for me, because if you're a full service tight end, that's what people want. You know what I'm saying? And the more you can do on the field as a tight end. If they can rely on you to block inside zone with the rest of the O-line, but then they can also rely on you to run a post 40 yards downfield, that just makes you so much more marketable and just makes you like so much more of an attraction and so much like really just a better player. You know, if you can just do everything, all aspects of the tight end. Like you see certain tight ends in the NFL, like as you know, like the tight end game is changing and developing, and guys are, you know, it's the Travis Kelce's now and the Darren Wallers and stuff like that. Guys who are like rangy and are really athletic and agile. So like I take pride in that, learning having their skill set, but also being able to block really, really well. Because I know if we can't run the ball, then we can't do anything. You know, like we can line up and run as many fades and posts and corners as we want, but if we can't run the ball, then it's probably not going to work out. So yeah, that's amazing for me. Like, you know, I really do take pride in my skill set as a pass catcher. I feel like I'm really it's a natural pass catcher and a natural receiver. But just like being in Missouri and just learning how to run block, I just take so much pride in it because it's so important to the game and just so important to our success.
So Missouri, when was that? Were you with Drew Lock at all?
Yeah. So my freshman year was Drew's senior year.
Okay.
So like after he decided to come back. So my freshman year was his senior year. I had a dude named Kendall Blanton, who's the tight end for the Rams right now. And I had my boy Albert Okwuegbunam, who was All-American tight end when I went there, and then ended up getting drafted to the Broncos in 2020. I played with just so many different dudes, like so many different dudes who are playing in the league now. So a lineman up. I think I believe my freshman year, my whole line played in the NFL, except like one dude. So just being around that and just being around guys like who did it at the highest level, that just, it helped so much. You know, I was around, my sophomore year I had Kelly Bryant from Clemson. Just being around him and just listening to what he had to say about Clemson and about the ACC and just, you know, his experiences there, playing in national championships and, you know, stuff like that. You know, I just feel like throughout, you know, my journey of these 5 years, this is my 5th year now, like I've just been able to soak up so much from everybody I've been around.
So you've been talking about Mizzou being very established, where, you know, you come in, you knew what quarterback you were going to be playing with.
Yeah.
The O-line was established. So now you come to Arizona State, where there's not only did the starting quarterback leave, you don't know at this moment who that guy's going to be.
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions around that, and you're still trying to show off your skill set. So my question is, why ASU? And has it been a little, you know, what's that process been like trying to show off your skill set, you know, with a bunch of different quarterbacks that you don't even know who's going to be out there with you?
Yeah. You know, at the end of the day, I feel like I could just do my job. You know, I could just do my job to the best of my ability. You know, as a freshman, I didn't even have that mindset of just like going into Mizzou of like, oh, okay, everything is established here and I got a quarterback and an O-line. Like that wasn't my mindset. But, you know, coming in here, like I feel like I thrive in adversity. You know what I'm saying? So like, although some positions might not be established yet and we may not know certain things about depth, you know, at certain positions on the team, it's okay with me just because at the end of the day, like, I can't control the quarterback room. You know, I can't control what they do or how they play. The only thing I can control is like, you know, my game and how I perform. So it's just like, regardless who's out there with me, you know, I think we have 6 quarterbacks on the roster, whatever one it is. You know, in the spring I caught passes from Paul and Trenton and Dalen, Finn. I caught passes from all the dudes. So it was just like, I feel like I did my job for them and, you know, they did their job for me by getting me the ball. But, you know, whoever's out there, you know, we're going to play ball. That's what it is. And I'm excited to see who it is. You know, I love all those dudes. You know, I'm supportive of the whole entire room. But yeah, I'm really just excited to be out there with them. I really don't care who it is. You know, whoever's going to help us win, whoever is just going to give us the best chance to win.